Hi guys, welcome to Shifting Gears, and with me I have the 2022 Royal Enfield Himalayan Scram 411 scrambler-styled motorcycle. As we all know, ये मोटरसाइकिल रॉयल एनफील्ड के हिमालयन प्रोडक्ट पे बेस की गई है, बट वेयर द हिमालयन is a more off-road focused, more purpose-built adventure tourer, this Himalayan Scram 411 carries forward the off-road DNA but in a more road-biased, road-focused format. इस वीडियो में हम बात करने वाले हैं इस मोटरसाइकिल के डिज़ाइन के बारे में, फीचर्स के बारे में और ergonomics के बारे में. रॉयल एनफील्ड कंपनी का ये कहना है दैट देर आर अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल आउट देयर, a lot of riders who want an adventurous motorcycle, who want an off-road friendly motorcycle, but they don't want the Himalayan because they don't want that intimidating adventure tourer look, and that is why Royal Enfield noticed that there were a lot of customers, a lot of custom builders who bought the Himalayan and then made it look like a scrambler, and that is why this motorcycle exists. Now, Royal Enfield faced a lot of challenges while designing and developing this bike. This motorcycle was designed and developed during the peak COVID phase, so a lot of it was done digitally, and finally we have the product in front of us. And let me tell you, I was very impressed today on my first ride. Although this is a first ride, we have had a lot of time with this motorcycle, and I can tell you that if you don't want the Himalayan, if you don't want the looks of the Himalayan, this motorcycle can do just as much as the Himalayan can manage. And if your rider skills are up to the mark, you will not feel the need to buy the Himalayan. So you can actually save a few bucks and bring home this Scram 411. Before we get to the features, let's talk about the dimensions of this motorcycle, because there is a lot that has changed, although it doesn't look like. Now, because the steering rake on this motorcycle is steeper when compared to the Himalayan, wheelbase change हुआ है. The wheelbase is 1455 millimeters. Ground clearance is 200 millimeters, which is 20 mm less than the Himalayan. Length is 2160 mm. Width is 840 mm. Height is 1165 mm. Seat height is 795 mm, which is 5 mm lower than the Himalayan. The curb weight is 185 kgs, which is a little less than the Himalayan, but it is still a heavy motorcycle. And you get a 15-liter fuel tank capacity with this motorcycle. अभी सामने से जब आप इस मोटरसाइकिल को देख लेते हो, it is very different to look at compared to the Himalayan, but it still has that Himalayan flavor. You can notice यहाँ पे आपको एक circular headlamp दिया गया है, clear lens setup, but this is not a LED headlamp. This is a standard halogen bulb with a LED pilot lamp, by the way. यहाँ पे आप देख लीजिए, you get a matte bezel around the headlamp, and then you have this cast bikini fairing of this motorcycle, which also gets this Royal Enfield branding. यहाँ पे आप देख लीजिए किस तरह से ये fairing यहाँ पे fit की गई है. It comes in multiple colors depending on the body colors that you opt for with the Scram 411, and then you can also custom paint it if you want to add some more flair to the front end design of your motorcycle. There is no windscreen with this bike, and there are no hard mounts which I can notice as of now, where you can fix it in the aftermarket. So that is up to you. That is something that you will have to live with. But then if you want that, you can actually go ahead and buy the Himalayan. Why would you buy the Scram 411? This is a more city focused but off-road friendly product, and in that respect I think it looks the part, and it looks quite different as well. नीचे आप देख लीजिए, टेलीस्कोपिक फ्रंट फोक्स पे आपको फोर्क गेटर्स मिल रहे हैं. I know the bike is a little dirty, but of course we have been scrambling around with this Scram 411, and we thought that leaving the bike dirty for the shoot makes much more sense than having a clean product. And I just think this bike looks like it is in its elements. Now the biggest change is that the front wheel is a 19-inch setup. Himalayan के साथ आपको 21-inch का front wheel मिलता है. This is a 19-inch unit. You still get a single disc brake at the front, and because of the 19-inch wheel, the rotational forces have reduced on this motorcycle, and that is going to help you switch directions on this bike much faster. This motorcycle will turn in much faster compared to the Himalayan. इस मोटरसाइकिल के साथ आप देख लीजिए आपको रिम स्ट्राइप्स भी मिल रहे हैं. The primary rim part is painted in black, but the spokes are unpainted. Front fork पे आपको ये reflector दिया गया है for lateral visibility. And then up top you will notice that the turn indicators are also standard kit. यहाँ पे कुछ अलग आपको नज़र नहीं आएगा. This is a standard bulb setup. This is not an LED unit. Then you will notice that you get twin pot speedometer cluster setup, an instrument console. This is completely different compared to the Himalayan. ये जो मीटर है, this looks very similar to the Meteor, but of course there are a few changes in terms of design detailing, and also the digital fuel gauge in this digital meter is calibrated to meet the fuel tank capacity of this Scram 411. When you turn the ignition key, it does a full swipe and you get a red needle, as you can notice. और इस बाइक के साथ आपको ये ट्रिपर कंसोल भी मिल रहा है. दिस ट्रिपर नेविगेशन मॉड्यूल इज एन ऑप्शनल एक्स्ट्रा. किसी भी स्क्रैम 411 वेरिएंट के साथ आपको ये एज अ स्टैंडर्ड किट नहीं मिल रहा है. यू विल हैव टू पे एक्स्ट्रा मनी to get this, but it is very useful. And today on our ride from Bangalore to Big Rock Dirt Park, never did it fail, never did it disconnect, and I got all the turn by turn navigation assist without any problems. So that is definitely a useful feature which you should have. Coming back to the speedometer cluster, यहाँ पे ये जो digital display है, you can notice you get your clock, you get your gear position indicator, you get a digital fuel gauge, and then you get trip meters. You have trip F, which is for reserve fuel, you have your odometer, and then you have trip A and trip B. That's it. यहाँ पे आपको distance to empty, average fuel economy या instantaneous fuel economy ये features नहीं मिल रहे हैं, and I think that is a missing feature. I think at least distance to empty is a feature which all modern two-wheelers should have. Also, another missing feature is that this motorcycle doesn't get a USB charging point. That is a very useful feature now, and a lot of manufacturers have started adding it on their two-wheelers, be it scooters or commuter two-wheelers or premium motorcycles. So this Himalayan Scram 411 should also have gotten that USB charging point, Type C or whatever. At least give that to us so that we can ride into the distance without having to worry about our equipment running out of juice. The next point which I want to talk about is the handlebar. The handle is completely different compared to the Himalayan. It is 60 mm lower than the Himalayan and 20 mm closer than the Himalayan. And you can notice that on the left hand side you have standard switchgear control. There is nothing fancy over here. Right hand side पे आप देख लीजिए, आपको engine kill switch के नीचे एक hazard lamp switch भी दिया गया है. And then look at the mirrors, circular mirrors finished in black, and the stalks are also nice and tall. तो जब आप बाइक चलाने वाले हो, you get a good view of what is approaching you from behind, and there is no overdose of chrome over here. Levers जो हैं, they are of the forged type, but they are non-adjustable. This little button over here which you see is to toggle between the data in the digital display of your speedometer cluster. Overall, dark theme आपको ज़्यादा देखने मिलेगी on this bike. Even the engine components and all the cycle parts of this motorcycle are finished in black. The chassis is in black. The rims are also in black. It is just the spokes which are unpainted. The fuel tank is similar to the Himalayan. The shape is similar to the Himalayan. लेकिन आप देख सकते हो जो साइड फ्रेम थी, जो क्रैश फ्रेम थी, वो अभी आपको इस बाइक के साथ नहीं मिलती है. That has resulted in weight reduction. यहाँ पे आपको एक additional part मिल जाता है which is very strongly mounted, by the way. It is not flimsy at all, and you have your Royal Enfield branding over there. And it comes in multiple colors depending on the color option that you choose for this Scram 411. Fuel tank पे आप देख लीजिए, you get very generous knee recesses, so you can grab on to the motorcycle very tightly when you are riding it hard, riding it fast. Up top आप देख लीजिए, ये जो fuel filler cap है, it is nicely finished in black, matte texture to it. So this is also going to stay good looking throughout your ownership cycle. It is not going to get scratched and that typical silver finish that you get which gets chipped off in your ownership cycle. I hope that doesn't happen with this motorcycle over here. Then you can notice that the side panel, you get this chiseled design, Himalayan Scram 411 decals over here, fiber piece, and I think it looks decent. यहाँ पे आप देख लीजिए, ये जो मास्टर सिलेंडर है, it is exposed, but you can get an optional accessory as a protection for this particular part. Lower down आप देख सकते हो, the engine is completely finished in black. You have the Royal Enfield branding over there. You have this toothed pattern on the brake lever. Foot peg पे आपको rubberized finish मिल रही है, so that you know the vibrations are taken good care of. Have a look at the exhaust, metallic finish. The same exhaust end can as the Himalayan, upswept, and this is also going to help you in water wading situations. You have a black finished heat shield over here. I know the bike is looking a little dirty right now, but I am really liking the way it looks as of now, because I have been very impressed because of the bike's capabilities to accept the abuse that I put it through today on my trail ride. On the left hand side, you will notice that next to this floating panel over here, you have the oil cooler, and this is how it is positioned. Royal Enfield is also going to sell you a protector for this through their MIY customization program, so that you can protect your engine's oil cooler, so that you can ride into the distance without your engine feeling too stressed and without that part being damaged. अगर आप ज़्यादा trail riding करने वाले हो, I will recommend that you get that part as soon as possible. At least the engine bash plate is offered as standard kit, so that is taken care of. The next big change on this motorcycle is the seat. आपको एक single piece step up design seat मिल रही है with this Scram 411. The seat is super duper soft and very comfortable. It is going to keep you very happy throughout your riding experience, and even for the pillion there is generous room. सीट पे जो टेक्सचर दिया गया है, it also offers you good grip, so even while off-roading you will stay on your seat comfortably and securely. आप देख सकते हो that it has a very nice contour to it, and there is good room for you to move around as well. We will show that to you in just a few minutes once I swing a leg. नीचे आप देख लीजिए पिलियन फुट पैक पे भी आपको रबराइज्ड टॉप दिया गया है. The rear wheel on this Himalayan Scram 411, again the spoked setup that you see on the standard Himalayan. This is a 120 60 17 contact patch rubber. Seat tires आपको दिए गए हैं, dual sport tires, and these offered us fantastic grip out on the highway and even during trail riding, so no complaints with the tires as well. Box type का आपको swing arm दिया गया है. You have a disc brake at the back as well. You have brake calipers, dual channel ABS as standard, not switchable. पीछे के wheel पे भी आपको rim tape नजर आएगी, and then you have a lot of this written on the exhaust end can. I don't know why Royal Enfield needed to write an essay over here, but nevertheless it is what it is. पीछे आप देख लीजिए, you get LED tail lamps, you get this very nice tail end section reprofiled and redesigned. I think it looks very good. Turn indicators, as you can see, bulb type. You also get a hazard lamp functionality, so you can notice I have turned it on. Number plate के नीचे आपको एक reflector दिया गया है, and it just looks the part. It looks like a proper scrambler motorcycle. Now that is our opinion. Do you think this is a good looking bike? You let us know. You can notice that there are other journalists having fun with this Scram 411, and I am done with my fun bit, so I am telling you everything that you need to know about this bike. On the left hand side आप देख सकते हो आपको एक half chain cover दिया गया है, and then with this motorcycle you only get a toe shifter. Heel and toe gear shifter आपको नहीं दिया गया है. Also, another important point to make note of is that the Scram 411 doesn't come with a center stand as stock kit. You will have to pay extra and bring it home. You will have to pay for it. ये जो bar and weights हैं, notice the design over here. These are small little things which I want to share with you. And then the next most important bit is that the engine of this Scram 411 also gets a very useful and thoughtful bash plate. You can notice that metal finished engine bash plate, and it is very useful जब आप इस बाइक को लेके ऑफ रोडिंग करने वाले हो. The rear monoshock of this bike is similar to the Himalayan. Even the suspension travel is similar to the Himalayan, so no change in that department. पीछे आप देख लीजिए, for the pillion you get this grab rail, लेकिन अगर आप चाहो आप इसे काफ़ी आसानी से निकाल पाओगे. I think this looks a little ungainly and I don't really like the way it looks. It depends on you if you want to leave it on as is or if you prefer form over function. Now when you want to open up the seat of this Scram 411, आप देख लीजिए यहाँ पे की होल दिया गया है, and सीट के नीचे आपको टूल किट दिया गया है which is positioned over here, and that's about it. ज़्यादा storage space आपको यहाँ पे नहीं मिल रही है, and as you can notice there is no hidden USB charging point over here as well. To fit the seat back in its place, pretty straightforward, no tantrums at all. And now let me swing a leg and let me tell you everything about the ergonomics, because it has changed compared to the Himalayan. This has become a lot more easier. This has become a lot more accessible. मेरी height है 5 feet 8 inches, and when I swing a leg, check this out, I have both my feet flat on the ground. Now because of this new handlebar and because of the revised ergonomics, check this out, the handlebar is very easy to reach and it is not too high, so it feels like a good city riding posture. You can be in this rider's triangle for hours and you will not be tired. That is also thanks to the seat, which is super duper supportive and comfortable. The handlebar, no problems to move it around. आपको ज़्यादा stretch करने की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है. So you can do commuting duties on this bike effortlessly. The mirrors are also ideal. They show you a good view of what is approaching from behind. Overall, the seating posture is very comfortable. ये जो foot peg positioning है, it is very mildly rear set. And when you have your feet on the ground, ऐसा नहीं है that the foot pegs are going to interfere with your movement. So you will be comfortable on the saddle and you will be able to move this motorcycle easily. It is just that you have to be okay with the weight of this bike, because even after the weight loss, this Scram 411 still weighs 185 kilograms. ये जो rider's triangle है, no problems at all. We rode it in the city, we rode it out on the highway, we experienced nice trail riding, and I had absolutely no problems on the saddle of this Scram 411. And now if I want to swing a leg, it is again very easy, because you know there is nothing tall over here at the tail end of this motorcycle. Check this out, there are other guys riding this bike, and if you stand up you are going to look like that on the Scram 411, and it is very easy to stand up and ride on this bike as well. But if you are a tall rider, then you will find that the handlebar, because it has been lowered, is a little too low for you to stand up and ride. So that is an ergonomic aspect which you will have to consider if you prefer standing up and riding too much. But then you can of course get an aftermarket handlebar and fix that issue, if at all that is an issue. But as is, this stock setup is fantastic and the rider's triangle is very comfortable, and I think Royal Enfield has done a fine job on this product, and also the refinement is superb. I don't remember the last time I was riding a Himalayan and I said that the motor was refined, and the same changes to the engine are going to be seen on the Himalayan as well. So all of you guys who are looking at this bike as your next big bike purchase, or if you are considering the Himalayan, you are in for a surprise in terms of refinement levels. Do remember to check out our highway ride review video where you will understand how this bike performs, and also do not forget to check out our trail ride experience as well. But before we sign off, just listen to the exhaust note of this motorcycle. Nothing extraordinary, typical of a single cylinder motorcycle, but still throaty enough and still quite distinct. In terms of product positioning, Royal Enfield is calling this an adventure crossover. Royal Enfield is positioning this as a multi-purpose motorcycle, where the Himalayan is more focused to take you off the road and take you up close to the mountain and up the mountain. This you can do everything with. You can do your daily commutes. You cannot be intimidated by the size of it. You can ride it to office, you can ride it to college, and you can also go off-roading. So this is your everyday motorcycle with good off-road credentials. So if you don't like the way the Himalayan looks, and if you like this, a more colorful scrambler motorcycle, then go ahead and buy it. If you have any other queries, any other questions about this Scram 411, do ask me. I will be more than happy to help you out. Subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel, press that bell icon, always ride safe, and always guys, wear your helmets.